Okay.
Welcome everyone to the Thursday, April 27th, 2023 Tinmouth Planning Commission.
This meeting is being recorded.
Commission. Welcome everyone.
to
The Planning Commission
the Planning Commission
April meeting. Does someone have their
microphone on?
Is your microphone?
Is your microphone on?
Yeah, I think so.
Can you mute it? Can you mute?
I can hear you, but
Right.
the picture's freezing. It's like the video isn't working. Let me log off and come back.
Okay. There's some kind of a time delay.
Yeah.
Pat. You can mute?
Yes. Want me to mute?
Yes.
Yes.
We can just see the top of your head, by the way.
That's okay.
I was admiring your ceiling.
Thank you, Bob.
Looks like it has a painting on it.
Yes, I think so.
Oh, but that's not, the painting's on the wall.
Okay, somehow.
I have to get my glasses. Wait a minute.
Does look like the ceiling though.
Right, but she's looking at.
She's on there
Yeah.
cooking, so it's.
Yep.
She's got her phone on the table.
Mhm. I mean, there's a line and everything. It's just, wow, nice optical illusion. Yeah. So whoever's listening to this recording, the few temporary technical difficulties will be resuming in a minute.
Or not.
You want me to mute?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Still haven't figured out how I can mute somebody from here, but.
I know how to do it on Teams, but I have not had to do it on Zoom.
Vito's back.
All right. All right.
So Pat is muted. Okay. Let's try it again.
Again, welcome everyone to the April 27th, 2023 meeting of the Tinmouth Planning Commission. Our first order of business is to welcome everyone. Hi. Call the meeting to order and we will review the agenda. Any additions or deletions? Seeing none, hearing none. Next, we'll move on to approving the minutes.
Move we approve.
Moved and
If I,
seconded. All in favor?
I, if I mute, I can't hear you guys.
Okay. So if Pat mutes, she can't hear us.
That's different.
Well, that's something new.
Technical difficulties, sorry.
Mhm.
All right. Well, let's see if there's any reverb.
As long as you're quiet, Pat, it'll be okay.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
We're talking out of turns.
Well, you gotta be able to vote.
Yes. Okay, so we've approved the minutes. Review the Barbara noise pulling emails regarding the energy section update.
Sound like we can't do much.
Yeah. But we also don't have to do anything. So,
Are we sort of gonna bump this for a year?
that's what I'm thinking. I don't think we really have to, we don't have to do anything at the moment because the state doesn't have anything kind of situated and
And we still have time.
yeah. Yeah, so I don't think we need to stress it because we don't know what we need to do.
Yeah, hard to put the pictures in when you haven't got.
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Table it for a couple of months unless somebody's really opposed to that.
You might want to table it for a year.
Well,
Maybe not that far, maybe visit it in 6 months or something.
Tim, is your hand up?
I was touching the unmute button. I was thinking about how that planning document actually reads, about how there are all those footnotes and you can't find number 15 anywhere. The all of the photographs without any kind of citation. Like if somebody's lived here 100 years, they might know all those things, but I don't know what those are pictures of. And we did a lot of editing and whatnot, but we haven't seen all of that applied and printed out and looked at a first new draft. So, you know, it could take us a couple of years. So I was just suggesting maybe we should keep working on the plan and see what we have so far and see how productive we've been.
Oh, yeah, no, I think we're gonna continue working on the plan.
I thought we were tabling the energy.
We're just gonna table dealing with the energy section for right
Yeah.
now. And we'll
that makes
continue
sense.
working. Yeah. So does everyone agree that we'll table our energy section update until further notice, or?
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to talk about it until we have more data.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
I agree.
I
More
thought it
min-
was interesting that they did address some of our concerns about the quality of the data and the mission of the energy planning and all of that.
You're talking about the emails between Barbara and Ed?
Yes. Or maybe I just read them too optimistically, but it looked like they were addressing some of our concerns.
Well, yeah, I think they're not ignoring us. The thing I'm nervous about is before we get to our revisions, the regional plan is going to be revised. One of the statements in the existing regional plan is that there will be no industrial wind power in the county. And I hope that in the discussions leading up to the revisions, that they don't, there may be pressure from the state to change that. And I don't know how the commission, the regional commission, is going to respond to that pressure. The critical thing to me is the last go around in the wind map they had, there was Tinmouth Mountain had a lot of wind energy on it. And to get that wind energy, whoever's going to put up industrial wind things are going to do a lot of damage to the land on Tinmouth Mountain. Did any of you go to the trip that was organized by the Regional Commission a good many years ago to look at the Lowell Mountain Wind Project?
No, I went over to New Hampshire to that one.
I've been to the Searsburg one, but that was at least a decade ago.
But this, if they want, if somebody gets the idea they want, and they've had, this is not a new idea. If somebody gets the idea they want to put industrial wind machines on Tinmouth Mountain, they're going to have to build a large new road to get up, to get the equipment up there, and then they're going to build a road along the mountain, along the crest. And that's a nightmare.
Don't you need three-phase power?
You need three-phase power, which is, I think,
It's the marble one.
the Marble line would be, yeah.
Or
I
they let
thought-
you tap into it.
Well, the marble line's dedicated for the marble.
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably calculated to push as much juice as they can possibly get down to there and, you know,
because is there anywhere along that line that's tapped into that line?
no, it's dedicated entirely
thought.
to, that's not, I mean, we don't have three-phase power. out of Tinmouth.
Major else said that they'd asked about tapping into it, but they wanted more for the transformer than their house cost.
Yeah.
That's what they
Because
told
it's so
us.
high, it's such
It's-
high velocity.
it will
24,000
Actually
kV.
beat what the power company told us.
But they were,
I don't,
I don't think you can do that.
I don't think there's any.
I think that's dedicated,
That's-
a dedicated line for
That's what I
damming.
thought.
I don't think that homeowners would, I don't think they would let homeowners or anyone else really. I
I
mean,
don't think that.
they would put up another line before they would,
We'd love a three-phase. for the
But I
farm,
think
and they did-
the transmission people are always interested in that.
yeah,
Now, who actually owns that now?
Green Mountain Power.
Yeah. that's what I
So Velco, Green Mountain Power bought Velco,
Velco, yeah.
so Velco technically owns it, but Green Mountain Power owns Velco.
thought. Green Mountain has both that and the water. right?
Well, in the Lowell project, they created two large transmission lines. New transmission lines. I was looking up looking at on Google Maps today. Of course, in Lowell Mountain, that project is about 2 miles long. There are about 16 large wind machine, maybe more.
So Bob, the recommendation is gonna be for absolutely no commercial wind in Rutland County?
That is the current statement in the regional plan.
And that's, you're not planning on changing that, or the
That
regional?
was passed- That was passed in 2017, but they're going through the same process we are. They're gonna revamp their plan. And I don't know that, there's, I'm sure you're aware, there's tremendous pressure coming down from the state, from the legislature to push us towards renewable energy, renewable electricity.
Yeah.
And one major element of that is large wind machines.
So I was actually, I was listening to something yesterday, and it was actually in terms of nuclear power. And I was thinking about it because, I mean, nuclear power is the most efficient and safest form of energy generation that we have to date. Right? I mean, you can make a little bit of a, between like what it costs and its efficiency. I mean, it runs at like 90% efficiency for like a tremendous amount of time. And I'm just wondering if, if there's not people in the state, because there is a decommissioned nuclear power plant. As resources change, has anyone in the state talked about looking at reopening or reintroducing a nuclear power facility in the state?
I haven't heard anything to that effect.
'Cause, I mean, the solar panels and the wind power, they do something, but they're not, it's not necessarily, I don't think it's the most efficient way. Personally, I don't think it's the most efficient way to generate electricity for the masses. Or nor is it necessarily the most
Stays here.
or the greenest, if you want to use that term.
Well, I don't know what the economics are, because there was a number of nuclear plants that were built in the 60s.
Yeah.
And 70s, and many of them have shut down. And I don't know why. It probably has to do with money.
Okay.
And safety.
Think there is some,
Well, I mean,
pretty safe.
there's a lot of, I mean, France has a tremendous amount of nuclear power plants. And they, you know, the modern nuclear power plant is much different from what we have before. And I was just curious if anyone is talking, I mean, if the state is talking about energy, you know, they can't just be talking about solar panels and like wind turbines, because that's, you know, that's not going to satisfy the needs of the state. It's not gonna do it.
Oh. Well, I'm sure we'll continue to get the bulk of our electricity from Hydro Quebec.
Yeah. Do we have anything about starting small hydro plants in the state or reopening existing?
I don't know if you can,
I think
since
they're taking them down more than
We're,
they're
yeah, we're
putting them
taking all the dams down.
up, down.
So the
For the
trout
fish
can swim
business.
up, the fish can swim upstream.
But I mean, to me, that makes more sense than, you know, it makes more sense than anything else other than nuclear. Is to, you know, it's water generate. I mean, that's where we're getting the bulk of our electricity now, is from Canada. You know,
I think I've heard, or maybe one hydro plant being brought online. It's north of Putnam.
Proctor had one.
oh yeah, Proctor does
did.
have one. And actually there
That's
is
the
one,
Valpo one. You were talking about the Valpo one, probably.
no, there is one there is the one in the power plant in Proctor, but there's also
Just north
right outside
Rutland.
of Route 7.
Um,
Yeah, that is,
That little street.
yeah, that comes from Chittenden Reservoir. And that big water tower that's the height of Chittenden Reservoir. Anyway, that's just a tangent on it.
My grandfather used to run that station,
Wow,
my mother's father.
Got one in Tinmouth. We had, use the pond and it wouldn't freeze.
I won't build one on the north end of town.
Well, they were gonna build one there, but it wasn't good. The plant, hydro plant itself was gonna be in center Rutland or something, so they had enough drop to generate. They were just gonna dam up the water here, and then they were gonna pipe it down or something, but.
Just like Chittenden Reservoir,
yeah,
same idea.
you say that idea.
But I mean, if you could get it to work for the town, because when I lived in Proctor, my electricity was dirt cheap. I mean, that was a decade ago, but it was really nice electric bill.
Well, that was part of being in Proctor with them.
Yep.
I don't know, I just think that, you know, I think, you know, when the state, personally, I think the state is trying to limit us and like shoehorn like electrical generation into a very narrow like segment of stuff. And I think in this day and age, everything needs to be on the table. And I think the state really should be thinking about more than just, you know, solar panels and wind power. And I don't know if that's something that we incorporate into, or if maybe I'm the only opinion about this, but you know, we should be, as a state and as a town, we should be looking at cost-effective ways to produce electricity.
Well, I always wondered how effective solar panels were in Vermont because we're so cloudy. Where last I knew the second cloudiest state in the nation.
They're there, but the newer panels do quite well even with clouds. I mean, they do a lot more with sun, but they're quite. Bob would probably know more on that.
When I looked into them years ago, it was gonna take the life of the panel just to pay for the offset in my electricity, because my electricity isn't that high,
Right.
so. It wasn't gonna be worth it.
Your house is stupidly efficient.
Oh, it's so nice.
It's it's more expensive here than others next door. New York is quite a lot cheaper.
Is it?
Yeah. Prince's 9.7 cents.
What is it? What's our kilowatt hour? It's like 15 cents? Is that
Yeah,
right?
Mine going, I don't know, what's commercial thing, whatever it was, went over, but we're peaking off people, and sometimes it's up to 26.7. I don't think 13 or 14 was the lowest.
Yeah.
And it's not too far off from being 11 hours one and 13 of the other. It's you can't really beat it.
You're right.
One
Yeah.
side, you can get one half, but you can't get the other
You
half.
can't get the other half.
Going on to it. But then you get a few cents added on with all the. It takes me longer to figure it out.
Right, all of the taxes and the surcharges and the ash borer beetle and the pre-storm surcharge. But
And the future ones.
yeah. Yeah,
It's, I guess. I still don't want to go back to Campbell's though.
yeah, that's true.
That's the whole part.
Yep, I think 99% of people that live here
Yeah.
don't want to go back to candles.
But I don't know, how many nuclear plants are got in New York? Is there any new ones come on? Does anybody know? Have any nuclear plants been built in the US and
I,
I heard they built a couple new ones, but they never activated them.
I think there's been great reluctance to build new nuclear plants in the industry, and I'm sure it has to do with money. I think they're quite expensive to build, and I don't know what their business model is, but it's not, apparently it's not attractive, as attractive as it was at one point.
I know Bill Gates had mentioned that he thought the future was with nuclear power, that there are new versions of nuclear energy, that new nuclear power plants that are a lot safer than what we've had in the past. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything recently about it, but about a year or so ago, he made some statements about nuclear energy. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, of course, there are periodic articles about breakthroughs on fusion energy. But I think that's still pipe dream so far. It's gonna be,
Well,
it's very difficult.
fusion, right now, they did produce electricity using fusion, but it cost them more than to produce it than in other words, it only was for one split like second they made electricity as the sun does, or made power as the sun does using fusion, but the cost of doing it was phenomenal just to be able to prove that you could do this using fusion, create a fusion powered unit instead of using nuclear fission. The cost of the experiment was tremendous. They did it somewhere in California.
Wasn't just the cost, it took more energy.
Right. It took more energy to do it than it was worth it. They couldn't duplicate what the sun did.
Yeah.
So don't we have any protection on Tinmouth Mountain from, with the property being under conservation that would prevent wind towers or wind turbines from being put on it?
I'm counting on it. There are lots of, I'm counting on the Vermont Land Trust being prepared to fight it. It's the heat on us is going to produce energy. It's going to continue pushing. They're going to continue pushing because people are becoming more concerned about climate change, and really want to.
Wouldn't it be better if somebody took one of these supercomputers and found out how many trees we'd have to plant to offset climate change, instead of trying to go wind and all this other thing? I mean, if we paid countries like Brazil to reforest the jungles, and certain countries in Central America, if all the larger countries would pay the countries that are cutting down jungles for a farm If we paid them to regrow the jungles back, it might help the climate more than what we're trying to do by putting up wind turbines and solar panels.
No, I have no idea. You're talking
Well,
big,
it's
big.
just, yeah, you have to think outside the box. Well, what I see coming out of Montpelier is a lot of not thinking.
Never have.
Well, anyway,
I
we
mean-
can discuss other, as we're writing the energy plan, we can think about other things that we want to add
Yeah.
to the town, as the inspirational, we are recognizing that energy consumption and energy production are going to be key factors in moving forward in society. And, I don't know, just think about, areas or scenarios or, I mean,
Ideas.
I really honestly, how many, you're gonna destroy an ecosystem to put up wind turbines that are gonna generate an unknown amount of electricity,
And not reliable.
and what's the cost benefit to
Right.
this town for that, it doesn't, that to me does not seem like it's trying to keep the ecosystem intact at all. It looks like, to me, that's just the opposite of what, the idea of conserving the mountains.
There is- Right. There is no logic in what they're doing these days. It doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, when you think about the energy it takes to produce these wind turbines and then the solar panels, how many years are they going to last? And then they have to be recycled. I mean, the technology isn't there to do what they want to do, in my opinion. We don't have batteries that are efficient enough. I'm going to bring a whole pile of rechargeable batteries made in China from solar lights. I've got about 50 of them that all are no good. I mean, we don't have the technology yet. We don't have the things in place to do what they want to do. It's kind of like, putting a broken horse with two broken legs in front because nothing works that they're talking about.
Little horse.
Well, certainly, to be, in my mind, it's a difficult issue, this whole business. And I don't think there are necessarily going to be easy answers.
So,
How much little Tinmouth can do about it.
No,
I'm
but
gonna-
we're going to be sacrificial lambs, in my opinion.
So anyway, I'm gonna close out our energy discussion for the night. I think there is a brief announcement.
A brief announcement. At the select board meeting a couple of weeks ago, there was somebody that came to talk about the National Flood Insurance Program. And one of the things he wants to encourage towns to do is look at river corridors. And so he's supposed to be sending information for the planning commission to look at, and as long as you're doing the plan, that might be a time to think about what what river corridors we have. And we tried to explain that when Irene came, the channel just sucked up all that water. And it didn't go cascading down through, like Shrewsbury lost half of Shrewsbury and ended up in Clarendon. But the channel held it, so our river corridor is actually working quite well. But anyways, they're gonna send some information for the planning commission to look at by and by. I haven't seen anything yet, but they're just a heads up.
We should study that and charge a fee.
Yeah, we have two other small river corridors, the Potley River in the northwest corner, and the what's it called, the Wells Brook in the southwest corner.
Flower Brook.
The Flower, I don't know, I've never seen Flower Brook. How big a brook is it?
It goes through Pollitt.
Yes,
If you go into Pollitt Village, that's Flower Brook coming down.
that's the one that comes
By
down
the
by
post office?
Glen Gould's place.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah, I really did
Parasol.
not like that bridge.
It's
So is it part of the
Oh,
two
Meadow
other-
Way and
Brook, so-
Flower Brook. That's the watershed.
We have Flower Brook, and Flower Brook goes into the Meadowee. it becomes, I don't know where that distinction lies, but.
Well, for instance, the channel is in Tinmouth. The Tinmouth Channel, when it gets to the Clarendon line, becomes the Clarendon River. But up here in the mountains, we have the Polteny River starts up there. It goes through Tinmouth and Middletown, and then it gets to Polteny, but it's.
Is that where the Polteny River
here.
starts? Is up in,
Yeah, that's one place.
Fulton River starts on Mar land.
really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, so there's the brief announcement. Is that the next meeting? May 18th?
And that's when Ed is supposed to be coming. For the progress on what we've given them to so far.
And and hopefully we'll all have a copy of everything that he has revised, so we can have looked at it before the 18th.
Yeah. That's the plan.
Okay,
We'll confirm with them about it.
That would be great.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, then I would say that we adjourn the meeting for the night.
so moved.
Second,
All right, thank you, everyone.
good night.
All right.
Good night.
Yeah, nuclear power is like